So I feel inspired to make a short video today about something that I was pondering earlier. Um, and I don't know, I feel like it's worth making a video about and relevant. Um, so much of this like newfound interest in the law of attraction, interest in older teachers like Neville, or specifically Neville, because most of the other older teachers, great teachers, are still not that popular right now. But Neville, as we've been talking about in some of these videos, there's a huge uptick in his popularity, which is amazing, as we've discussed, and also ridiculous because most of the popularity surrounding his stuff, the commentary about it is pretty dry and not new. But the good news is that there's a lot more people interested in Neville than there used to be, which I think is a pretty great thing. And there are some great commentators if you sift through them. But I was trying to think of, reasons why that is, why his popularity is growing almost exponentially, it seems like, over the last year or two. And I've already discussed some of that stuff. It makes a lot of sense why Neville is more popular than he has been in a long time, just because of what he talks about. But there's this passage that I was trying to remember, and I just found it. It's in 5 Lessons. This very short passage that I think kind of summates why Neville and these law of attraction teachings in general are so sexy right now. And so I thought we could just unpack this for a couple of minutes. The line is, "No man can tell you that you are Christ Jesus. No man can tell you and convince you that you are God. You must toy with the idea and wonder what it would be like to be God." I'll read it one more time. "No man can tell you that you are Christ Jesus. No man can tell you and convince you that you are God. You must toy with the idea and wonder what it would be like to be God." So I would argue that a lot of people who are getting into Neville are not grounded in necessarily like a very spiritual background, which is totally fine. But their background in regards to religion might be the church, or just stuff they kind of had to do and they didn't pursue. And so when you hear something like this, and especially if you're like in a situation that is not a situation that you want to be in, like you have financial troubles or health troubles, or your boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife dumped you and you want to rectify the situation, you hear Neville's advice, you hear that you are God. I mean, that's the solution, seemingly, right? Yet we all know that's not the case for most people who try to apply it. It doesn't work like that. And I think that this line I just read twice really kind of explains why. And that's, no one can tell you you're God, including Neville. No one can tell you that you are Christ Jesus. And they tell you and you believe it. You have to believe it yourself, or you have to toy with the idea, play with the idea that this is true. And most people hear the idea and it's very appealing, obviously, right? But it's not enough. Neville says, that you have to toy with the idea and wonder what it would be like. That's not easy. If you do have a background in spirituality, I think you're far more likely to be able to toy with that idea and see that what Neville's getting at is not necessarily as like dogmatic or strange or offensive as it might at first sound. Um, being one with God, you know, recognizing the Christ within you. This is a spiritual tenet or, a spiritual idea that makes a lot of sense and is said in one way or the other across most of the world's religions. But meditating on that idea, toying with it, that's, that's great, is doing that. And I don't think people are doing that enough necessarily. Toying with the idea, wondering what it would be like to be God, really wondering, not some, grade school bullshit, God in the sky, what would it be like? And I point my fingers and I get that person and get that person, but really toy with that idea, wonder about that idea, ponder that idea. It's interesting, I'm still waiting for more intelligent discussions on Neville. Then I will stop talking about him properly. There's so many conversations these days. I'm hopeful there's going to be more intelligent ones that point out subtle stuff. But toying with the idea of God, wondering about God, that is not exclusive to Neville Goddard. That is the idea behind most good spirituality, is toying with the idea that you are God, that you are Christ. So ponder that, I would say. And you can also ponder that there might be a pragmatic psychological point to this, like we were discussing in a recent podcast episode that Coué talks about, where it's about belief, and whatever you believe becomes true on just this practical psychological level. You don't necessarily even have to use the word God. You can toy with that too, just what belief is. It's not as simple as it initially sounds, usually. You can stay with it and toy with it and wonder about it and explore it and bear the fruits of doing that. It's well worthwhile.